Okay. So, are you a perfectionist, Ilya?
I'm not sure. That's a tough one because okay, maybe once upon a time I didn't want to do things unless it was like either perfectly in order or really neat or something like that. But down the line, especially like where I am now, I wouldn't say, or I wouldn't use the term perfectionist because I like to. I did sketching for a bit, like as a hobby, and I found it very peaceful, right? And one thing you learn about in sketching, right, is that you're never gonna have the perfect stroke. And as you do the strokes and whatnot, if you look at the better artists, right, they will just continue even if the stroke is like bad or something like that, right? But then when you take a look at the final picture, right, it looks amazing. But the thing is, more often than not, we are the ones that are criticizing the small little strokes that we may have done wrongly.
Yeah, it looks ugly. Your lines are all, berbulu-bulu.
I mean, yeah, that's what you think. But then you need to get past that in order to draw the entire picture that would actually give some sort of beauty or meaning to it. So I kind of found that in like what I am, or I've kind of applied that to a lot of what I do in life as well. It's like when I go and public speak, I shouldn't worry about, oh, I can't get a single or a single or like I cannot pause, or I cannot, I'm in front of people. It's like I have to go through it, and the more I go through it and I complete the process, right, only then I would be able to improve and get better at it. Or that is a more efficient way to get better at it than trying to criticize every single step of the way.
Yeah, because you are the feedback kind of guy, and you want to do things right before you start. But here's the thing, Ilya. Sometimes, most of the times, people with that kind of mindset, me included, if I have this minimum requirement before I can do it. Like, for example, creating content, or starting a project, or starting a business. If I need to be 100% knowledgeable in that area before I can execute, then I'll never execute, because there's no way for me to know everything. And I believe, this is my belief, and this is a discussion, right? I want it to be a discussion. I don't want it to be like a presentation.
Yeah,
just,
please.
My belief is that going through life, we are supposed to try and improve, try and error, right? We do this, it doesn't work. Okay, let's try another way. Okay, it doesn't work. And fine, we might leave a trail of failures, and it might stick with us. I guess it's up to you, to that person, to either be okay with those failures, be okay with people pointing at those failures, and focus on that one success. You might have 10,000 failures in you leave behind, but you reach that one success. And I believe that one success is where everyone will look at, and they will just ignore your past failures and be like, oh, that guy did it in one try. What do you think of that?
I have interesting perspective for you because I've had this reflection before. So one, on your side, I actually completely agree with that. But one thing that I have to throw in there is that there's actually a balance to be struck in whatever you're saying there as well. So the way I define overthinking, and I think you've probably seen it in my first reel long time ago. I said overthinking is when you think to the point of inaction, right? So that's one end of the, what do I want to call it? The spectrum, one end of the spectrum. So if you
Right.
think to the point of inaction, then you're overthinking, right? Then the question becomes, how much thinking should you do, right? Because you know where that threshold is. Now, where do you draw the other end? It's like not thinking at all is also not an option, right? So you kind of,
Why not? I'm telling you that.
listen.
Why not?
All right. The second quote I'm about to say is, what's the term for it? Okay.
Because you can just start. You can just like, I don't know it. I'll just start it. I might fail. I might fuck it up. But at least I'm starting.
Okay. Have you heard this? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
I heard
Okay.
of it. Yes.
And I had another one quote that I got from my vice chancellor that I've been using to this very day as well is make the best decision you can with the information you have. So if you have the information, right, that means you cannot go through all these experiences. And the reason why I experienced this is because like I actually relate this from baseball, right? Baseball is a very, very technical sport. And when you go in, you don't think about what you're doing, you bat and whatnot, you actually risk yourself getting injured because you're not swinging the right way. You're going to hurt your shoulders, your limbs, and whatnot because the energy is being released in the wrong direction. So it's like this kind of information, you can't study it, then you try, right? And the reason why I'm putting that out there is because there was a time where I was in the mindset of, oh, I'm new to this, so I'm just going to try, right? And when I was making those videos in the very early stage, right, one of the things that I caught myself doing was I'll make a video. Then there'll be people who are like, there'll be the very supportive people, and these are people that are nice to be around, right? Then there are people who are critical about it. It's like, you know, you shouldn't make the video like this, or your angle is like this, or your lighting isn't that good and whatnot, right? And normally what comes to your mind, especially when it's your first video, is like, it's my first video, man, right? I was like, I'm still learning. But one thing that I realized is that the moment I say that, what does that mean to the other person? The other person is there giving me the feedback, but I'm not receiving the feedback because I'm saying this is my first time. It's like I should just let him speak, and accept the feedback as a whole. And the thing is, after I've accepted that feedback, then that is the new information that I have that I'm supposed to apply the next time I go into make the best decision you can with the information you have. So it's like if you've already reached a certain standard, right? Or you've already reached a certain standard, you shouldn't make the same failure twice. So it's like if I've already learned this, and I think it's quite interesting in a team setting as well, because some of our discussions back and forth, I feel that there may be certain areas that you have better standards than I do, and there may be certain areas that I have better standards than you do. And the idea of us working in a team is that we're supposed to help each other bring our standards to the highest possible level and then fail at that level. Because when we fail at that level, only then do we progress to the next level. But if we are still, this is our standard, but we are playing down here, then we are not improving. And I think that's how I see it.
It's amazing. That's the mark of a true leadership. You get to see the strength of everyone, including yourself, and then make use of those strengths. Push yourself. Like, for example, I am more of a, I would say, from my reflection, I would say I'm a more impromptu guy. I'm not the kind that plans too much. I do plan a little bit, but like just a throwaway plan, as what happened just now, right? And I tend to do things impromptu. I tend to trust my guts more. And yourself, such as yourself, you prefer the script to be written pre-written before the podcast. And you're right. Sometimes though your the what do you call that pre-planning dominates certain areas, and sometimes impromptu dominates certain areas, right? So there's no answer to everything. All depends on the situation, and it's our calling to work together to use each other's superpower or strength to navigate through the challenges that we're gonna face. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You have to have someone different in your team.
I used to say this to my team all the time.
Different-
It's necessary to have people from opposite ends because it's like we had this whole. I don't remember where exactly I got this from, but one of the conversations we had was liberals and conservatives. And okay, maybe when you hear liberals, like okay, you have one definition of liberal, but just to clarify the definitions here, liberal are the people that want to change the traditional way of doing things, and conservatives want to keep the traditional way of doing things, right? And this will exist in any organization you go to because you have the people that want to change, innovate, and whatnot, and there will be the people who go like, if it works, don't change it, right? And the thing is, both parties actually have a right in their arguments, because there are things that you should keep that work well, that shouldn't be changed, and there are things that you should innovate. And how do you figure out what is the best course of action is when you create a medium for these two people to have that conversation. And I think more often than not, people think that, oh no, I can't work with this person. I can't, because, we think differently. But the thing is, in order to have a successful organization, you need both ends of this stick. Because only then can you really challenge each other's ideas to formulate the best action forward.
I like that very, very much. And you know what? I think that is a lot of content for 10 minutes. Okay, we can start recording there.